Welcome, everyone. This is SatiSeva, which is an affinity group associated with Recovery Dharma. And this is a practice of 16 mindfulness practices, all about reimagining both recovery and support. And it is my intention and my motivation to create an environment for people who are on the journey of recovery and including all of the people who are supporting them. And I also want to invite people who are in recovery to look at the ways that they're supporting others. Sometimes the way we support others gives us a clue as to the ways that we support ourselves. So if we're finding that our support for other people is full of impatience and judgment, it's kind of a nice indicator of, ooh, what are the ways I'm judging myself? What are the ways I'm impatient to myself? And so this is a way and in a community where we all come together, no matter what our journey of recovery looks like, no matter what our negative habit energy is. And we use the tools of mindfulness as a neutralizer, an equalizer. We're all practicing mindfulness together. Welcome, welcome, one and all. I'd like to begin our practice by sharing with you a sentiment of loving kindness. And recently I was going through piles. I don't know if you are like this, but I have a tendency to organize my life in piles. So piles of correspondence that I need to respond to, piles of doodads that I need to put away, and so forth. And so sometimes I just put everything on the kitchen table and I go through it all. And I came across this amazing art created by one of our Sangha members who's here today. And she paints and doodles on garbage, on flyers, on playing cards that might have a missing card. And she creates these beautiful pieces of art. Here's this one. Be patient. Isn't that amazing? Look at that. Just on a junk flyer, she uses these wonderful paint markers to paint this bold reminder. Be patient. I love it. And then she's taken one of the adages of the SatiSeva practice on the 5 of spades. And this one reads, grow slow. Grow slow. Isn't that a beautiful reminder? Grow slow. I love that. And it's such a wonderful partner to being patient, because when we're impatient, we're often in this mind state that says, oh, I need to be farther along than I am. I need to be doing more. I need to be this. I need to be that. And the SatiSeva practice and the spiritual practices of mindfulness are all about slowing down, inserting many, many pauses in your life, and looking to nature as a reminder that we cannot hurry nature. We cannot enforce or inflict our impatience and make nature do whatever we want. We are visitors. We are observers. We are partners to nature. We are an extension of nature. And so why we insist on treating ourselves differently than how we go into the reverence of nature is a curious thing to explore. We'd never hurry along a butterfly that's emerging from a cocoon. We may want to, But we know that to push the process, to be impatient with the process, is to inflict destruction upon the process. So if we are emerging from our own recovery, we too have to practice patience, concentration, presence, diligence, honesty, and allow ourselves to grow slow. Welcome. Today, I'd like to begin our practice by inviting you all to close your eyes if it's comfortable for you. And if it isn't, allow a friendly smile to come across your face, knowing that within yourself, to close your eyes is not comfortable, and to not force yourself is an honorable thing. It's a way of expressing self regard, and that's beautiful. So instead, find something within your gaze that you can look upon. Find something beautiful that can encourage your mind to wander. Notice if your gaze turns to something, a chore. Oh, yeah, I need to do that. Oh, I need to do that. Oh, I need to do that. And just notice, see if you can turn your gaze away from those types of efforts. And for the next few minutes, just find something that captures a little beauty. Maybe something in your space that you haven't looked at for a while. I have an orchid flower here that's has dried and fallen from the plant. And this is going to capture my gaze for a few minutes. And simply take stock of whatever you're looking at, even if your eyes are closed. In your mind's eye, allow something to arise that captures your attention, and really allow your mind to wander. Sometimes in meditation, we try to rein the mind in. We try to empty the mind so it's not thinking. And I think sometimes it's nice to treat the mind as if it's a little seed and it's just catching the whimsy of the winds, and just let it wander. No restraints, no worries. And if it helps to have an anchor, you can breathe. Just breathe in, breathe out. And notice what you notice. Friends, for anyone who's joining us for the first time today in our SatiSeva practice, what we've been doing for a number of months now is going through the book slowly, paragraph by paragraph. And we're exploring right now the spiritual practices of SatiSeva. There are 5. And we've been looking at the 4th mindfulness practice, which is the cultivation of ambivalence. And we've spent many weeks now talking about and reminding ourselves that ambivalence and apathy are sisters, and they are not the same. And it's a really important distinction to make, because it's very easy for ambivalence to become apathetic. But if we can remember what makes them different, it can change everything. So, for instance, apathy sees no more options. I've done everything. There's nothing more I can do. Absolutely nothing more. Ambivalence says, well, that may be true. And the truth is, I might just need a break. I might just be at my limit, at my capacity, because if I'm creative enough, I bet you I can find one other possibility hiding somewhere. Possibilities are limitless. They're limited only by our imagination. And so we might feel at our wits' end and give up because we haven't figured out how to respect our limit, or just acknowledge I'm at capacity and I need a break. That's ambivalence. Apathy says, I just don't care anymore. I'm done. I don't care. Ambivalence says, woof, I feel like I don't care. But again, I actually care deeply and I just don't know what else to do. Apathy says, you're on your own. I'm on my own. I'm isolated here. I'm all by myself. Ambivalence says, I am traveling my own path. You are traveling your own path. And if we stay bordered and boundaried, we can see each other, we can encourage each other, and we don't have to feel so alone. We can be together while honoring our unique, separate spaces and journeys. Apathy likes to say things like, whatever. Ambivalence prefers to say things, what else? And it's really important to honor the ambivalence that arises in us, because it's such an indicator. It's like a little spiritual bell calling to the mind and heart that says, hey, you're at your limit and that's okay. You've reached your max. You're at capacity. Slow down. Pause. Take a break. Breathe. Come into this moment. Stop grinding away at this. Stop hammering the same nail over and over. Go get a drink of water. Put your feet up. Sit beside a tree. Make a bouquet of flowers. Have you eaten something nurturing? Ambivalence is just opening up all these options as ways of slowing down, encouraging something new, keeping the pot of possibility always stirring. And ambivalence is what allows us to stay the course without burning ourselves out. That's what happens in apathetic states is we are at our limit, but we don't respect it. And we keep pushing and pushing and pushing until we're running on fuels and we've completely burned ourselves out and we feel super resentful and we're just all of those aggressive, hostile emotions and I give up. Ah. Ambivalence creates the conditions for us to stay on message, stay the course, stay with it, have periods where we're full on active and engaged, and have times where, whoa, the only thing I can do right now in this moment is flip through this People magazine, eat some candy corn. Just, I need to take care of myself. I need to take a break, a bath, whatever it is that you need to do so that you can find avenues of replenishment and restoration to keep going. Why? The journey of recovery is way longer than people ever think it should be or fully understand its reality. I read very recently in a psychiatric magazine, and I thought this was really incredible. Recovery is a potentially chronically relapsing brain disorder. How's that for a clinical statement? From a spiritual point of view, recovery is a very spacious place where people have recurrences, they learn from those recurrences, and they get back on track. They learn to walk that path with more confidence. They stumble, they learn from the stumble, they heal from the stumble, they keep going. But it takes a long time. So today, what I'd like to share with you are the instruments of peace for the cultivation and the practice of ambivalence. And for those of you who don't know, this is the book that we use. And if you're reading along with me, I'm on page 88 and I'm in the section of Instruments of Peace. Instruments of Peace are the tools that we use to complement and encourage these mindfulness practices. And there are two for the ambivalence practice. The first is a practice of taking stock, and the second is to notice small wonders. So let me share with you about taking stock. Years ago, my husband, Doc, and I were renovating our farmhouse. We gutted rooms down to the studs and had trusted professionals help us rebuild them. Anyone involved in renovation knows there is a ton of detail work that can easily become overwhelming. Doc had a mantra I found helpful. It inspired the taking stock practice. He would say, "We're moving it forward." When we emptied the garbage, we were moving it forward. When we screwed in a light switch, the whole project was moved forward. When we made phone calls and scheduled appointments, this all added up to moving the entire remodel forward. Everything was noted. That act helped me see how the enormity of our renovation project was the sum of a million details, both big and small. Some days we celebrated big successes like the installation of sheetrock, taped and mudded. Other days we noted the piddly tasks that needed to get done, such as picking up nails and screws off the floor with a magnet. Everything mattered. Taking stocks of moments of clarity matters. Taking stock of connecting conversations and understanding matters. Taking stock of reacting and responding in new ways. Taking stock of habits. Taking stock helps grow awareness, which is the key to anchoring ourselves in reality as it is. It all matters. So, what I'd like you to do, just for a few moments with me, quietly, is take stock of your morning. Now, we often put this in the context of doing. What did I do? And that's okay. That's exactly what I want you to do. We don't have to judge our doing. And that's the key. Don't judge the doing. Take stock of all the doing because it all matters. So even if you're cultivating a story in your mind where your doing isn't good enough or isn't big enough, notice that. Notice your attitude toward your own doing and keep taking stock. So, for instance, I like to begin often by simply recognizing that I got out of bed. And in this moment, when I take stock of getting out of bed, I have an arising of enormous compassion because I know that there's someone somewhere in the world who isn't getting out of bed when I got out of bed without even thinking about it. They're not. And maybe they're not because they've died. Or maybe they're not because they're waiting on a caregiver to help them get out of bed for all the reasons people may need help to get out of bed. Maybe they've had a stroke or a spinal cord injury, or they have some kind of chronic disorder or illness. Who knows? But they themselves can't get themselves out of bed without the help of someone else. Maybe somebody is in active habit energy and they don't feel well enough to get out of bed. Maybe physically they don't feel well enough, and psychologically they feel so ashamed and humiliated that to face the day is too big a task. And so the covers are pulled, the curtains are drawn, and there they lay. All of that reflection, all of that potentiality for compassionate awareness by simply taking stock of getting out of bed. Then I take stock of using the bathroom. I could spend 15 minutes talking about how extraordinary that is and how there are people in the world for whom that is an ordeal. There are people in the world that don't have running water in their homes. There are people in the world right now where sanitation, sewerage is not built into any kind of infrastructure. Amazing, isn't it? I take stock of going down the stairs, and what greets me at the bottom of my stairs are three of the most beautiful people, but they're furry and they wag. But I think they're people wearing wagger suits. They're just the friendliest faces. They are just little rays of sunshine in my life, and they are waiting for me to take them outside. And we have a wander around. And there are a million things outside, billions of things that I could take stock of. Your day, your morning, friends. Take stock of what you've done, what you've been able to do. It's amazing what you've already accomplished. Enjoy this quiet time to reflect and take stock. Friends, I'd like to share with you now the second instrument of peace that sort of complements, it adds a little bit of nuance to the taking stock practice. And it's something I call small wonders. Small wonders are, for me, life's way of waving to get my attention. The moment I notice a spider web in its web is a small wonder that grabs my attention away from the incessant thinking and doing. Anything can be a small wonder when you really think about it. These wonders are not that small at all. Being present to life in as many moments as possible is a profound awakening. I'd like to share with you a small wonder that I stumbled across this morning. So I have a garden on my farm called Nama's Garden, and wildflowers and all kinds of things grow in the pathways. And I'm forever weeding out the pathways, but I can't weed out the beautiful flowers like the poppies that grow and the violets and the cosmos and the anise and so on. They're just too beautiful. I can't rip them out. And so it's a little bit of a walk through the jungle. And today I noticed there were some poppy flowers still. Here we are in mid-August. It is way late. Some of my poppy plants are as dry can be. They are long gone, long past. They have produced their seeds and they're self-sowing. But today I stumbled across this tenacious little poppy plant that was still producing bright red, brilliant poppies. And I just spent time with it and noticed it. And the honeybees were there pollinating it. There were some poppy heads that were dried and still filled with seeds. There were others that were drying out in various stages of producing seeds and getting ready to sow them. And it was just a marvel that this plant could survive the horrible air quality we've had for a number of weeks, the fires that were raging in our community, the drought conditions, so on and so forth. This little thing is very tenacious, highly resilient. And what I really appreciated about it was just determined to bloom. It had no regard for the season. It wasn't paying attention to anyone else, any other plant. It didn't take on the story that says, it's past blooming season for poppies. It's like, oh, yeah, well, I'm going to still produce more flowers just because. I just thought that was radical. And what if I took that on for myself? You know what? I'm just going to continue to bloom just like myself, just because. What a message from this poppy. What a small wonder to plant in my heart and in my mind today. And what a thrill to be able to share it with you. Take a moment and see if you can listen to a small wonder that's been trying to get your attention. What's it saying? What's it trying to wake up in you? Friends, as we conclude the chapter on ambivalence, I simply want to encourage the paradoxical nature of our reality, which is that there's going to be ease and there's going to be challenge. And ambivalence is the quality that allows us to navigate this, not give up, keep going. When it gets messy, we keep going. When it's smooth sailing, we keep going, all the while staying strong, staying true, staying clear. And the thing that feeds that resilience is a spirit of wonder. To recognize that right in my own life is all of this clarity, all of this ease, and it's right beside confusion and distortion and upheaval. And when I can learn to sit and notice both of these things with sort of a friendly, curious spirit and invite the wonder of it, golly, in the quiet recesses of my own soul, it does its work and it feeds my capacity to be resilient, to stay strong, to grow in that capacity, to simply keep going. And what's extraordinary to me is that awakening to this awareness is quick, but growing into it is slow. So savor it, enjoy it, allow the wonder to carry you. You may find that your life is indeed so precious and sacred. Okay, the end of our practice today. And wow, just what an amazing time together. Thank you for gathering with me and with all of us. Just incredible. We meet again for SatiSeva, if you can imagine this, September 2nd on Wednesday. And we're going to begin a brand new chapter on the mindfulness practice of acceptance. It's the last of the spiritual practices, and I hope we can just take it slowly. Acceptance is one of those very grow slow practices. And so we'll take our time really digesting it. If you don't have a copy of the SatiSeva book and you would like one and you live in the United States, you can order it directly through Soul Center. If you live internationally, you'll have to find another way. Mailing them is just cost prohibitive, unfortunately, but there are other places to buy them online. We often use, is it bookshop.org, Lo, is one of the resources that we highly recommend. But if you can order it from me, from Soul Center directly, I'll sign it for you and gussy it all up. And of course, you don't have to. You're under no obligation. We read together, and there's no need for you to have it. Although it's a nice book to have around. Today at 1:00, we meet for Recovery Dharma, and we're going to continue to talk about wise speech if you'd like to join us for that. I do want to remind everybody of our audio recordings. You can listen to our podcast. We've got a YouTube page. It's all freely offered, and may it be of service to your practice. You can subscribe to all of that as well, and that's a wonderful way of getting some traction and momentum. So feel free to share the recordings, let people know about them. Email me with any questions or concerns. And I think that's it for now. Let's go ahead, friends, and end our practice today with a dedication of merit. I'd like to bring your attention to three of the pictures from three of the Sangha members, whose names I'm not going to say just to protect their privacy and confidentiality. But just look at the suns, the bright orange sun, that radiant light. The sun, our star. There are billions of them in the Milky Way galaxy. We have but one that we are connected to that sustains our life. And as hard as this is to believe, for some people anyway, all of the molecular and atomic particles that make you are the same exact stuff found in the sun, in stars. We are just simply arranged in different ways, in unique ways. But we are all expressions and extensions of the radiance of stars. Your warmth radiates just like our sun. Your light radiates just like our sun. Your life is life sustaining for others, just like our sun. Your presence here is an inspiration. It's a source. It's a force. Be fearless and shine. We're all better for having you shine in our lives. Have a great day, friends. We'll see you next time. Namaste.